David, did you guys have a franchise mentor? Who taught you guys everything that you learned about franchising going into this?
Yeah, I mean we've had a few. iFranchise was kind of the company that helped us develop everything. We visited a bunch of those franchise development companies that help, and so I learned a lot on the way. Harold Kestenbaum, who was our attorney at the time, he wrote a book that was super helpful. I can't think of the name, but if you come up with it, you can kind of share it with the audience. Those guys were super instrumental and super helpful with that. And a lot of it we just kind of learned on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we move forward, we have more mentors that we're involved in. Bedros Koulian, who owns Fit Body Boot Camp, there are 1,000 locations. He's one of our mentors. And so, kind of learning from those people that are way ahead of us
Mm-hmm.
and not really seeing those people as competition, I think is so important, like collaboration, right? I mean, one of our mentors owns a fitness franchise. You'd think like, Dave, why is one of your mentors someone who owns a fitness? Aren't you competing against him? It's like,
Uh-huh.
no, we can all win, right? We all offer something different. And I know what I know to get to 50 locations, but I've never opened 1,000 location fitness franchise, you
Right.
know? So I'm going to need someone to kind of help guide me there.
Sure. And going back to your experience, you might not have been happy in your career at the time of working for that big box fitness center, but ultimately it was that experience where you were getting paid to learn this business. And I mean, it gave you a start.
Yeah, no, 100%. And look, I give a lot of my credit to that company. It provided me with a lot of opportunities. I enjoyed working there. I wasn't miserable being there. I knew that there was a specific ceiling, right? And I think that, people kind of open their own businesses or buy franchises for a couple different reasons. One is like they're just miserable in what they do.
Mhm.
They just want something better, or they like what they do, but there's no growth. I think as humans, like we thrive on mastery, we thrive on growth and development. And if we're just staying the same, we're just slowly dying. And so I knew that there really just wasn't a greater ceiling for me there. And so that's ultimately, obviously, why I said, like, look, I want to create a challenge. I love competition. Let's dive into this thing head first.
Nice. David, there's a couple of things about your concept that I wanted to get, I want you to share. Number one, so I read somewhere that your franchise concept, there's an option of a brick and mortar or mobile.
Yeah, so we created this during COVID,
Mm.
and we've even expanded on that even further. Obviously, when COVID happened, all the brick and mortar stores were shut down. People were going online, people were going at home training. And so you could either say, okay, well, let's stick to our guns and just stay in location, or let's get ahead of the curve. We actually started our online fitness and our mobile fitness like 2 months before COVID hit. We kind of
Whoa.
saw the writing on the wall. Things were getting bad. You could see the news. We didn't know how
Mm-hmm.
bad they would be,
Mm-hmm.
but we said, look, we need to get ahead of this. We need to be ready in case this happens. And so thankfully we got a jump on that sort of thing. We were able to create a studio, and we filmed workouts. We did live videos. We created a database of on demand. And all of these things were provided to our clients. Our franchisees took advantage of this. So they were able to keep most of their revenue running during COVID. Because think about it, like our members still needed help.
Sure.
We weren't going to also, I mean, think of it from a moral standpoint, like forget financial, like these people that we've developed relationships with, we're not just going to leave them hanging to the whim of like, hey, sorry, we're just not going to help you out for 3 months. We'll see you later. Like we have a responsibility to these people. And so, we wanted to make sure that we were still delivering health and fitness at a time that was 100% needed more than any other time, both physically and mentally. And so the mobile concept kind of came to fruition. Now we've expanded that even more where we have an online option as well as part of an additional revenue stream that we didn't have a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that was the other thing I saw, that you have multiple streams of revenue. So as a franchisee, I have the choice, again, brick and mortar or having a mobile franchise, right? And then I can be taking on clients strictly for online classes. And then who's running the online class programming?
Yeah, so we've filmed an entire database out of our headquarters, and so we
Mm-hmm.
have on-demand videos already filmed. But we also do like online nutrition, online consulting. We have an app that we've developed and created. So the individual trainers for the individual franchisees or owners are servicing those clients through the app. But again, it's a lot easier because things are already pre-built, things are pre-filmed. So the execution is more of kind of a plug and play turnkey on that side of the house. And as far as multiple revenue streams, like boot camp is always going to be our bread and butter, right? That's just what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But all those other things kind of feed into it. They're either standalone or they're hybrid, right? Because not to kind of dive into fitness, but there's 24 hours in a day. Like someone comes to our facility for 1 hour, that's 1 hour out of 24. Let's say they sleep for 8, there's still 15 hours left in the day to like leave people to their own devices. And that's where people fall off. That's where people screw up. And so like, we were like, why aren't we helping these people for the other 15 hours a day?
Mm-hmm.
We need to be doing something. That's when we created our accountability, nutrition programming and everything. That's becoming a huge, huge revenue stream for us. It allows us for a bigger ticket item on top of it, and it allows us to just kind of do like a full holistic approach on fitness and not just like when they come into the facility.
Now, how do you navigate the whole franchisee saying, God, there are so many franchises. There's so many fitness franchises in my community. I understand what Soldierfit is, but how am I really going to differentiate myself to get clients?
Yeah, I mean, again, I can relate it to as far as kind of the little things that we do and the outreach of the community. This is what I tell everyone. The promotion's only as good as the promoter, right? Like I can give everyone the playbook. I can give you the differentiators, but if you don't execute on that, like there's only so much that can be done.
Right.
But I think that people that like that community franchise, that really, it means more and it gives back to the community so much more. You know, people that want to be involved in that are the people that are going to want to be a part of Soldierfit from a member standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to resonate with it. I mean, the name alone obviously speaks fitness, speaks military, speaks teamwork, speaks camaraderie.
Right.
You know, and when we get people through the door, like you can see in the background right here, I mean, the facility is decked out in like full military everything. We have a Humvee front desk. Again, our members wear a uniform. We have, you know, military decor everywhere. There's a battle cross memorial. We fall in similar to the military. We fall out. It's just such a tight-knit community that people obviously, you know, that's why they come into the facility, not just the results, but the experience that they get inside the facility.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine too, people with military experience, you know, they may have, their career ended in the military, but this probably gives them that feeling again of what it was like when they were the most fit.
It gives them another brotherhood and another sisterhood that maybe they've lost. You know, and we do get a lot of people from a membership standpoint that are kind of lost in their way. They're not the studs and studettes in fitness. Most of our people are actually the opposite. Most of our people are beginners. You know, they're scared to go into that big box gym where they feel like they're going to be judged, but they know that like Soldierfit is a sense of community. They naturally, like there is a intimidation, hesitation, right? By the name Soldierfit, it's just natural.
Sure.
Once they overcome that, they're like, okay, now I understand. Now I can feel comfortable. Now I can meet new people. I can make new friends. You know, I mean, there's people that come in that, like they literally can't look you in the eye when they come through the door. Next thing you know, they're like, they have 20 best friends. They're high-fiving people. They're going out to the coffee shop. I was going to say bar, but I guess that would kind of go against fitness. But they go out to the bar, right, with the other members. They're doing community events. And so, you know, it's just really cool to see.
Yeah. We're on the other side of COVID. And I think your brand plays in so well for that demand for socializing again and being together. And it plays into it perfectly.
Yeah. And God, I mean, now that you say it, I mean, it was hard for us. I mean, here we are, like we're high-fiving, we're like hugging each other, like we're in these tight groups inside the facilities, and all of a sudden, like you can't touch anyone, you can't be near anyone. We had to tape up like boxes inside the facility for people to have their own space. I was like, man, like I feel like I lost a piece of my heart.
Yeah.
You know, thankfully, you know, we were able to kind of pivot around that. We're back to what we were doing before, but it was a difficult time. And kind of to piggyback on what you said, yeah, I mean, fitness is more important now than ever. I think it always has been, but I think we're now realizing it. I think we're now realizing the effects of non-socialization, kids and adults, you know, what non-activity really does or doesn't do for you, right? And, you know, how much fitness plays into your health. Not that we didn't know before, but now we know. I mean, gosh, 50% of the population is going to be morbidly obese in, you know, the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, that's a staggering statistic that we just can't let happen. So we have a responsibility to keep people in shape. And then, you look at the flip side of it, where do people turn when someone gets sick or someone needs help? Like they're shoving prescriptions and pills down people's throats. And it's like, come on, guys, like you're looking at the solution. It's just activity. Be active. It doesn't have to be at Soldierfit. Like it could be anywhere. Just be active, and that really is the magic pill. And I think people are starting to see that, starting to understand the agenda a little bit more.
Totally.
And I think kind of guiding the way of like, okay, now I understand why this is.
Right. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.